I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about signs an avoidant loves you. So if you've ever dated somebody with more of an avoidant attachment style, you can see how much they struggle to stay in relationships and make them work. And that is because they grew up in a home where they didn't get a lot of love and affection. They couldn't count on their caregivers. Oftentimes they were emotionally neglected, oftentimes physically neglected, sometimes even abused. But the more they struggle in their relationships as adults, then it's kind of reflective in the more that they struggled to get it from their caregivers as kids. So if you hear an avoidant say, I had a great childhood, my parents were great, they're great parents. No, they're not. They're probably not very emotionally illiterate people, or at least one of them, because sometimes you have one parent that is really good about those things, but maybe they're anxious. But the anxious parent is so overwhelmed by their own emotional state that they can't really be present with the child, okay? Because they're so overwhelmed with fear and that, that feeling of anxiety that they can't really be present with the kid. They can't help them regulate their emotions and things like that. So avoidants struggle not because they don't want to be good partners, but they don't know how to be good partners. They probably have never seen caregivers that were able to be good partners. In other words, they didn't see parents that were doing a good job of having a healthy relationship. They weren't co-regulating emotions. They weren't present with each other. They were probably dismissive to each other and fighting and arguing in that anxious avoidant trap. And so it's hard to trust anyone. It's very hard to trust anyone else when you couldn't trust the people that were supposed to be taking care of you, the people that were supposed to nurture you and give you love and affection, and they didn't do it. So now you don't know how to do it. You don't know how to receive it. It just feels very uncomfortable and overwhelming. So that's why avoidance struggles so much in relationships and giving and receiving love. And so one of the big things that you have to do if you want to find out if an avoidant loves you is give them the space to do it. And that is probably the very last thing you want to do, because you struggle with trusting people in certain ways and you're anxious that they don't really care about you and they won't be there for you. So you don't want to give them space, but that's what they need. If you want to allow them to show you they love you, you gotta give them time and space to process, which is at a much slower speed than other people. So I've got 7 good signs that an avoidant loves you. So pay close attention. These are really good. Number 1, they allow you to stay in their home and in their space. Okay? They are very particular about their space. It's the thing they feel they have the most control over. They feel safe. If they want quiet there, they want quiet. If they need to shut down, and they are very protective of allowing anyone into that space. So if they're letting you in there, it's a good sign that they really care about you, because you're going to disrupt their routine. And for them, that's a big deal. For you, it may not bother you at all, but for them, it's like letting someone into my space where I no longer have all that control is very uncomfortable for them. So it could be even small little things, like when you go over there, you leave your shorts on the floor when you go to sleep at night. Right? I've literally seen avoidants get upset about this stuff. Something small like that, not leaving Your shoes, where they ask you to leave them. If they say, I want you to leave your shoes at the front door, and you forget and you come in and carry stuff in. You mess with their air conditioner. They like it at a certain temperature and you want to just change it just 1 degree. Even 1 degree can set them off. Maybe you forget to put a dish towel away. You leave it on the sink and they're like, you know I like it in this spot. Literally, these small things can set off an avoidant. So allowing you into their home where you can disrupt all these things can really bother them. It's a good sign that they really care about you if they're allowing you to do that. Number 2, they are willing to negotiate. They will do things with you that they don't want to do. That's big for them, okay? Like they might go to something that they don't like or they don't want to go to, but they go there because you like it. I talked to this guy recently who his girlfriend wanted to go to this reptile convention and he didn't really want to go, but he went, right? And that was a big deal for him because it was like, this is my time. This is my free time. I'm off of work. I could be doing something I want to do and I'm going to this thing for you. So that is a good sign that they love you, is that we'll go places with you and do things that they really don't want to do. Okay, number 3, this is a big one for them. Practical help. Helping you with things is a big sign because, they don't like to open up emotionally, so they do things to show you that they care. Like acts of service. Cooking. This is big. If they're cooking for you, that's their way of nurturing you and taking care of you. Also, they bring food to your house. That's another big thing. Or they clean up at your house. Another big sign that the avoidant cares about you, that they're cleaning up after you, like they're spending their time doing these things to make your life easier. They're helping you manage your life. Sometimes they are doing little chores for you or errands that you can't do because you're working. Like they take your cat to the vet or they schedule a repair service for your car. These are signs that someone's really invested. They can't say it and express it so much, but they show you. Now, avoidants will often express themselves in the very early stages of a relationship, but as things go and time goes by, they can't. So I'm talking kind of in the long run with these behaviors, not that early love bombing stuff that they do when they're kind of fantasizing. This is like the long-term dynamic where they're showing you they care about you. Okay, number 4. This has to do with family and friends. Introducing you to their family, their friends, and you got to remember, they grew up with parents that have real emotional problems. So they probably don't like dealing with their parents. They don't want to be around their parents. Their parents get on their nerves. They're always bothering them. They're fighting with them. They're arguing. They're irritated by their parents. So introducing you to them is a big deal because that is like something that could make you want to leave, right? Like if you're really thinking clearly and you see that their parents are like this, you could be like, well, this is a red flag. I'm not sure if I want to be with this person. So that's part of it. And friends, it's kind of like, this must be serious. And they don't like that feeling of, they're bothering me about saying this is serious. They don't want to hear their friends say, this is serious. You must really like this one, right? That annoys them. And also wanting to be around your family or friends too. That's another good sign. Like maybe you have kids and they don't like the personality of your kids. Let's be honest. Sometimes they don't like your kids' personalities and don't be like, they don't like my kids, they're not gonna like me. Hey, I get it. But that's just what I see. Like I had an avoidant recently say, I don't really like her kids. This one particular, I like the older one, but the younger one is weird. And he says and does all these weird things. And it's off-putting, but I'm trying to spend time with them. So that's another sign. Okay, this is another big one. They are transparent with what's going on in their life, who they're with, and what they're doing, and where they're going. They give you details. The difference between an avoidant who really, really, really cares about you and the ones that are not sure is the ones that really care. They're going to give you those details which they don't think you have the right to know because that's kind of like their life. This is my life. But they give you those details, times, places, who's going. They don't normally like to share those things because they think it's no one else's business. Okay, number 6, you know there isn't anyone else. Okay, now there are many avoidants that you have no idea what they're doing, where they're at, who they're with, and you suspect they're up to no good. But with an avoidant that really cares about you, even if you tell your friends and family about their behavior, you know. You're like, no, I know there's no one else. Trust me, I understand why you would think that and could think that, but I know this person. I know there's no one else. Now, of course, there is some room for error here. We don't want to live in denial, but many of you know your partner so well that you know there's no suspicious behaviors. There's nothing there. It's not like they're, getting suspicious text messages or they're disappearing for days on end. There's nothing that would indicate that there's something going on with another person, that they might be cheating. It's just that they value their independence and their autonomy to do what they want when they want and not feel like you're parenting them or telling them what to do. They hate that. Okay, number 7, and this is maybe the biggest one. If you see this one, it's huge, okay? Because a lot of avoidants really struggle to get to this one, but they care enough to change their behavior and seeking help. If you get an avoidant who's in therapy, actively working on their issues, watching videos, like the avoidants that are dumped are often doing the creative healing course and the workbooks. So if you got an avoidant that is working on themselves at that level, that is a huge sign that they care about you, maybe more than anyone else, and they really, really, really care enough to make those changes, that they're doing it in some ways because they don't want to lose you. And that is huge for them, because if not for that, they probably wouldn't get to a place where they're going to get help, or many of them wouldn't, not all. So if you see this, it's another great sign. Obviously, there could be more signs than these, but I really like these 7 to share with you. And hopefully this is helpful to you. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. You can also get my creative healing course and my workbooks only on my website. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.